Overnight, the Biden administration announced it will waive 26 federal laws in South Texas to make way for the border wall construction there. The move marks a significant policy reversal for the White House, which has called the border wall, quote, not a serious solution. Here's what then candidate Biden said about the wall in 2020.
There will not be another foot of wall constructed on my administration.
Joining us now, NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez and NBC's Guad Venegas. So, Gabe, what happened at the White House overnight? Why is this happening now?
Hi there, Jose. Good morning. Well, several things. I just spoke with a White House official that's putting back on the characterization that this is a direct result to the migrant influx that we've been seeing over the last several months. But here's what happened. Overnight, published in the Federal Registry, the Department of Homeland Security asking to waive those 1026 environmental laws with regards to building this wall. And the reason the White House is saying that they're doing this at this point is because they had to, because this money was appropriated by Congress in 2019 under the Trump administration. And in order to follow the law, the White House says, that's why they're having to build this barrier now. And they say the original announcement for this was back several months ago in late June, roughly 20 miles of the border barrier in Starr County, Texas. So again, that is why this is coming to light today. But Jose, as you said, this all comes as we're seeing this large migrant influx, and several cities, including New York and Chicago, especially now over the last several days and months, have been saying that this is impacting their cities as well. And as you just heard there, President Biden, even just shortly after taking office and those executive orders, said that, you know, building a border wall was essentially a waste of money. But again, the White House now arguing that it had to use this money because it was appropriated by Congress during the Trump administration, Jose.
Yeah, Gabe, I'm just reading the actual Department of Homeland Security document that was released overnight. And in Section 1, it says, the United States Border Patrol's Rio Grande Valley sector is an area of high illegal entry. As of August 2023, Border Patrol has encountered over 245,000 such entrants attempting to enter the United States in the Rio Grande Valley. Therefore, I must use my authority to install additional physical barriers. It sounds to me, and I'm just reading what it says, that there's a direct correlation between 245,000 entrants at the Rio Grande Valley and the announcement of a wall.
Yeah, that's what you're hearing from DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, again, as this administration, tries to contain the fallout from those from that increased those increased numbers of illegal border crossings that we have seen certainly rise in the last several months. But again, the White House says that also because this was the end of the fiscal year, that this process since Congress had set aside that money back in 2019, that it needed to waive those environmental laws in order to get this construction done. Certainly reaction, though, pouring in from certain environmental groups that say this is a bad idea and should not be done, Jose.
And Gabe, has there been any reaction from anyone on Capitol Hill?
So far, we're still looking for their reaction. But as I mentioned, those environmental groups, there has been one, down in Texas, this calls this a horrific step backwards for the borderlands, Jose.
And meantime, Guad, a federal hearing is happening as we speak over those floating barriers, those buoys in the Rio Grande River?
That's correct. The floating barriers that were installed by state authorities. Now, the legal argument by the federal government is that they have jurisdiction over that part of the river. There's a law that says that any river where there's commercial traffic then falls under federal jurisdiction. Now, we don't have commercial traffic in that part of the river, so the state is going to try to argue that it's not under federal jurisdiction. And in fact, they did have a right to install those buoys. So that court ordered the original ruling from a federal judge that said Texas had to remove those buoys. It put that on hold. So we're still waiting. We heard arguments just minutes ago from both the federal government and the state. Now we have to wait for the Court of Appeals to decide, Jose. And this is a small part of that area where now, as you have just mentioned, they plan to build a border barrier. Just a small section has these floating barriers, which they've been criticized for other reasons, Jose, not just the fact that it's a floating barrier, but the dangers that it poses because of of the way it's been built. So it could be argued that it's a political statement. We haven't seen the flow of migrants slow down in that part of the border, Jose. And now we have this news that they're actually building a new barrier. So, there's so many things happening at the border. We have to.
You have been there, and Gabe, of course, has been there. We've all been there a number of times. Those buoys in there are, I mean, no one has confirmed died right on them, but there have been a lot of people who have been found, a lot of bodies that have been found near that buoy area. What's it like there?
So we don't know exactly what would have caused the two bodies, the people that were found, what caused them to drown, perhaps in the river. What we know is that the river's dangerous because the flow changes depending on the time of the day, right, Jose? It's always dangerous to cross the river with a current. Now, what the barrier caused is a lot of people to use a different part of the river, a different section that perhaps could have been more dangerous going around those barriers. So, again, it did not stop the numbers. It was more of a political statement made by the Texas State Administration, and they kept it in the water until this Court of Appeals makes a decision as to what is going to happen next. But it's one of the decisions that Abbott made, installing the razor wire, putting in the floating barriers, using state resources, as he says, to police the border because he believes that the federal government isn't doing it, Jose.
Yeah, and also he has been using men, women, and children that arrive there and putting them on buses and sending them to all different cities in the United States. I thank you, Guad Venegas and Gabe Gutierrez, for being with us this morning. And turning now to breaking news out of Ukraine, President Zelensky says that nearly 50 people